Hiya, welcome back to Green Hill Gaming, where I share my passion of video games with the whole wide world. In this live stream discussion, I'm going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1 and why I firmly believe, that the game was rushed to market by Warner Brothers Games. So yeah, sit back, relax, but as always, and more importantly, enjoy the live discussion. And please let me know in the live chat below, or if you're watching this at a later time, let me know in the comment section below what you think of the situation. I'd love to hear from you. This is essentially the sequel to the video I uploaded yesterday talking about Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. I'm just going to share the live stream onto Facebook, so more people will have the opportunity to join in on this this conversation. It's a hot topic, as I mentioned in yesterday's video. It's a hot topic, the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1, because of the state that Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch is in. In case you don't know, Mortal Kombat on Nintendo Switch is a disaster. Okay, it really is. I spoke about it in yesterday's video, so I'll give you a quick recap on the issues with Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. So during cutscenes in the story mode, there is frequent screen tearing. When you are transitioning between cutscenes and fights, there is a very annoying delay. Sometimes, particularly in chapter 15, the final chapter of the story mode, there is a very significantly long delay. There's also audio bugs, in particular, again transitioning between the cutscenes and the fight. And when you do transition from the cutscene to the fight, the character models are extremely blurry and lack detail. Aiden, how are you, my good friend? Welcome to the live stream. How are you keeping? How are you finding the new era in Mortal Kombat 1? My friend, great to have you in the live stream. Please enjoy, and please feel free to join in on the discussion. It is shitty on Switch, but the reason why Nintendo Switch is shitty on Switch is important, and it is the topic of this this discussion. So I hope you can stick around for this, Aiden. If you can't, I recommend that you check out my video that I uploaded yesterday, where I spoke a little bit about Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. But yes, it is shit. I would say the biggest issue, personally, with Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch is invasions, or the lack thereof, because you can only play the opening section of invasions on Nintendo Switch. It's incomplete, which is what brings me to the actual specific topic of this discussion, and which is what I think is the reason why Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch is shit, as you pointed out, Aiden. It's not a hardware issue. It has nothing to do with the technical limitations of the Nintendo Switch. Look, it's common knowledge, or at least it should be common knowledge, that the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1 is not going to look as good or run as good as the PlayStation 5 version. Again, that should be common knowledge, because the Nintendo Switch is a handheld using a chip from 2015. The PlayStation 5 in particular, I say PS5 all the time because that's the version I have along with the Nintendo Switch version. The PlayStation 5 is a home console, a very powerful home console with modern and high-end chips inside of it. Okay, so nobody expected, or at least nobody should have expected, Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch to look and run exactly as it does on PlayStation 5. Okay, so that's not the issue. Of course, Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch is going to have noticeable compromises. It's to be expected. But that is not the reason. Technical limitations is not the reason why Mortal Kombat 1 looks as bad as it does on Nintendo Switch. The reason is Warner Brothers Games, which are the publishers of Mortal Kombat 1. All you have to do is pick up the box, if you have it physically, of Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch, go down to the bottom beside the age rating, and it clearly says Warner Bros. Games alongside NetherRealm Studios. Warner Bros. Games are the publishers. They are the parent company of NetherRealm Studios. As we know, or at least as we should know, it is the publisher, it is the parent company that ultimately has the final say on a lot of the business side of game development, and in particular game release, which is what I want to talk about now. I firmly believe the reason why the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1 is in the state that it is in is because Warner Bros. Games had a strong deadline for Mortal Kombat 1, and they wanted Mortal Kombat 1 to release on all platforms, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC and Nintendo Switch on the same day. No matter what the cost. But now we see that cost, which is an incomplete, rushed Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. I mean, if you still don't believe me, if you say, no, Johnny, that's not the case, no, you're wrong, that's not the case at all, no, you're wrong. Well, there's a few things that you have to take into consideration. Okay? And those things are, by the way, Aidan, are you still there? Or did you just turn the live stream to say that Mortal Kombat 1 and Switch is shit and say no more about it? You're right, it is shit, but I'm explaining to you why it is shit. And my other viewers as well. So, let's have a look at who actually developed the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1. It actually wasn't NetherRealm Studios. They oversaw the development of Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch, but it was actually Saber Interactive and Shiver Entertainment, who are now they're actually a joint company. They've actually I don't know if merged is the right word to use, but I'm going to use it anyway. These two companies are now merged, and they collectively developed the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1. Let's have a look at these companies, okay? So, we start with Saber Interactive. They ported The Witcher 3 onto Nintendo Switch with all of its DLC on the one cartridge, no internet download required. And it is considered to be one of the best ports on Nintendo Switch. And again, obviously, nobody expected or should have expected The Witcher 3 on Nintendo Switch to look and run exactly the same way it does on the other consoles. But it ran well. It looked well. It complemented the Nintendo Switch hardware, unlike Mortal Kombat 1. Okay, so Saber Interactive are known for bringing one of the best ports over to Nintendo Switch. Shiver Entertainment, they actually ported Mortal Kombat 11 on Nintendo Switch previously. And again, Mortal Kombat 11 doesn't look and run exactly the same way it does on the other consoles, but it looks good and it runs good and it complements the Nintendo Switch hardware. It has all the modes, all the features, and it functions in the way that it should function on Nintendo Switch. And people also gave that port a lot of praise. Okay, these companies, Saber Interactive and Shiver Entertainment, they specialize in porting over high-profile games like Mortal Kombat, like The Witcher, across various platforms with various architecture. They specialize in this. It's literally what they do for a living. NetherRealm Studios and Warner Bros. Games didn't just hire some company from a back street like Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar Games did with Red Dead Redemption on PS4 and Switch, and the GTA trilogy, the definitive edition. And apart from that, they're renowned. Like these two companies, Saber Interactive and Shiver Entertainment, these companies are world renowned developers in what they do. Again, they specialize in bringing over high-profile games like Mortal Kombat and The Witcher to various systems, including the Nintendo Switch, to function on these platforms in the best possible way. That is what they do for a living. And they have done that with The Witcher 3 and Mortal Kombat 11. They're different to your standard developer. Let's say Capcom, who developed Resident Evil. Like, what makes Saber Interactive and Shiver Entertainment different to, a developer like Capcom is, it's their speciality. They specialize in ports. It's what they do for a living. Okay, porting games, in particular high-profile games, over to other systems to take advantage of their architecture. They absolutely, I've seen comments of people saying that the developers mustn't have understood the architecture of Nintendo Switch. They absolutely do, which is why they ported The Witcher 3 onto Nintendo Switch, which is why they ported Mortal Kombat 11 onto Nintendo Switch. They absolutely understand the architecture of Nintendo Switch. It's what they do for a living. They understand other architecture. They understand these systems that they are porting games onto. It's silly to say that they don't understand the architecture of Nintendo Switch. Silly, absolutely silly. They specialize in porting high-profile games over to other systems. No. Okay? So that's one reason. Right, the other reason. Invasions on Nintendo Switch. As I mentioned, it's incomplete. It literally is incomplete on Nintendo Switch. You can only play the opening tutorial section, Johnny Cage's mansion. Once you finish Johnny Cage's mansion, it's incomplete. It's incomplete. So I firmly believe, with every other bug, an issue that Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch faces, combined with the fact that Invasions is incomplete on Switch, and when you look at Saber Interactive's and Shiver Entertainment's credentials, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up that, oh, this is a hardware issue. No, the only thing that it adds up to is a rushed, unfinished game. Again, I firmly believe that Warner Brothers Games wanted this game to release alongside the other platforms on the same day, regardless, no matter what the cost. And again, we've seen the cost, which is an unfinished disaster that Mortal Kombat 1 is, with all of its various bugs and issues. It's. I mean, I just finished. I actually replayed the story mode in Mortal Kombat 1 again. Oh, I absolutely love it. I'm going to have to review it at some stage. I'm going to do a third playthrough as well. I absolutely love that story so much. To go from conquering realms to conquering timelines, and to give the spotlight of villain to another character as well. Oh my days, Mortal Kombat has just gotten started. But anyway, so I completed it again last night on Switch. I played the Switch version. So chapter 15 is the final version, and oh my god, it just infuriated me. It infuriated me. As I mentioned earlier, there are times when you are transitioning from cutscene to fight where there's this long, awkward pause. At least you can look back at the Mortal Kombat logo continually looping on the screen. But holy fuck, it's annoying, and it shouldn't be happening. Look, it was rushed. It's in a terrible state. Okay, now bear all of that in mind now for a second. Okay, I'm not going to read out. Aiden is gone anyway. But it is shitty on the Switch. But I would have loved if Aiden could stick around longer to kind of, to kind of engage in the conversation a bit more. But he is absolutely right, by the way. But it's the reason why I think that people are a little bit confused on. Nintendo haters are having a field day. I'm actually delighted for them, because this is like a free shot for Nintendo haters. Oh look, everyone! I have been saying all this time how shit Nintendo is and how shit their hardware is. You wouldn't believe me, Johnny. You wouldn't believe me. Now, look at Nintendo Switch. Look at Mortal Kombat 1 on it. And now accept the reality that Nintendo is shit. They're having a field day. I'm absolutely delighted for them. Absolutely. So there's all joking aside, there is confusion among people online as to why Mortal Kombat 1 is shitty on Switch. I have been speaking now for a while about why the game has been rushed to market by Warner Brothers Games. They favoured deadlines over standard of quality. Because let's face it, there is no standard of quality on the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1. Nintendo should really hang their heads in shame. Because Nintendo do play a part in this, but not in terms of their hardware. Because as I mentioned, this isn't a hardware issue. Again, of course, Mortal Kombat 1 is not going to look exactly the same and run exactly the same on Switch as it does on PS5 for obvious reasons, because again, the Switch is a handheld with a 2015 chip. The PS5 is a home console with modern high-end chips. So of course, the two versions are not going to be identical. That's common knowledge. That shouldn't be discussed. That shouldn't be explained. We shouldn't see side-by-side comparisons of a PS5 port and a Switch port. It's ridiculous. Okay? So that's not the reason why Mortal Kombat 1 is shit on Switch. It's important that we understand the difference, the reason why. So with that said, okay, I'm going to read an article I'm going to read an article from Ed Boon, co-creator. Sorry, the article wasn't written by Ed Boon, sorry. It's an article from BBC.com by Tom Richardson on the 19th of September 2023. Discussing the state of Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch and what Ed Boon, co-creator of Mortal Kombat, is going to do about it. So it says Mortal Kombat 1, the new game in the long-running series, is out. But the Nintendo Switch version of the beloved beat 'em up has been getting a bit of a kicking versus its Xbox and PlayStation rivals. Fans have been posting side-by-side comparisons showing the gulf in graphics and criticizing the game's overall performance. Series creator, co-creator, BBC, Ed Boon, tells BBC Newsbeat the hybrid consoles version will, and he puts it in inverted commas, absolutely be getting an update. So for anyone that only has the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1, thankfully I have the PS5 version. This should be good news to you. Once again, he says absolutely will be getting an update. And he goes on. And a number of the concerns of the issues that had come up will absolutely be addressed. So he says there will be an update overall, but he says in particular that the concerns of the issues that had come up will absolutely be addressed. So we know the issues. Screen tearing through cutscenes in the story, awkward delays between cutscenes and fights. When we transition from the cutscenes to the fights, the character models lack detail and they're blurry. When you are having versus fights, there is a 30-second standoff / stare off, among other issues as well. It's not the issue of this game isn't 4K. Fix this, Ed Boon. This game doesn't have HDR. Fix this, Ed Boon. This game doesn't have high-end visuals. Fix this. It's not. Again, it's not. That's not the issue. If anyone expects the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1 to look like a PS5 game, then you're a fucking idiot. Straight out. So again, that's not the issue. Is the fact that the game is incomplete. Okay, Shiver Entertainment and Saber Interactive didn't have enough time to finish this game, to polish this game, to ensure it was of high quality. And Ed Boon is going to speak about this actually in just a moment. When I actually, he's right here next to me. How? No, I'm going to continue reading the article, but it's important, and we're going to talk more about that as we go on. And then he goes on. He says, "But anything that we're finding a problem with is on our list and is going to be fixed." So obviously Ed Boon is going to take the time, along with his team, along with Shiver Entertainment and Saber Interactive, are going to look at these issues. And it's not very hard to see these issues, So he says that they're going to be fixed. One of the common criticisms of the Switch version is its price. It costs the same as the more advanced PS5 and Xbox Series editions. I think it depends on where you shop. I got mine physically in Smith's toys store for €60. I didn't get it from the store, so it depends on your situation and it depends on where you're shopping. Really, I would say in terms of price, I think €60 for a Switch game is reasonable. But Ed's message to fans who've bought or are thinking of buying the title on Switch is that he puts it into. It will be supported like we did with Mortal Kombat 11. Here is where things get interesting. Okay? Now before I'm going to check the live chat first to see that I missed any comments. So I'm just going to mention something before I continue the article. As I mentioned at the start of the live stream, it's the developers that make the game, and it's the publishers that want to make the money, want to get the game out there on the market at all costs. The suits who just care about business and care about money. Okay? So the publisher of Mortal Kombat 1 is Warner Brothers Games. The developer is NetherRealm Studios, and on the Switch it is Saber Interactive and Shiver Entertainment. So if you're a developer, it's your game, you've made the game, you really want to be in control as much as you possibly can, but you can't. Not when you have a big publisher like Warner Brothers Games above you. So here's what it gets interesting. Ed Boon once again quotes, anything that we see that is not acceptable will absolutely be addressed. And then you go, so away from the Switch version, critics have had kinder words for the other editions, both the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 versions are logging respectable scores on Metacritic. And one thing that's got fans talking is the inclusion of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Ed tells Newsbeat why getting the actor, okay, where's... Okay, there was a quote that I missed. Am I having a Mandela effect? In less than 2. Oh yeah, sorry. I missed one. Yeah, okay. So the most important quote that he says is, it would have been ideal for us to have released the version that we absolutely wanted. Think about that. Just let that sink into your brain for a moment. I'll pause for a moment. I'm going to say that again. Again, this is a quote from Ed Boon in regards to the issues that Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch is facing. Ed Boon says, it would have been ideal for us to have released the version that we absolutely wanted. Key words there is, it would have been ideal, us, absolutely, and wanted. Why do I highlight those words? Because he is saying it would have been, as in he didn't have a choice. If something, he said it would have been ideal. He said it would have been ideal, as opposed to it was ideal. So obviously this is a person who wanted to do something, but unfortunately it didn't happen. It would have been ideal for us as in NetherRealm Studios, as in Shiver Entertainment, as in Saber Interactive, which are the co-developers of Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. Because NetherRealm Studios oversaw the development, of course, it is their game, but of course Shiver Entertainment and Saber Interactive were developing the Switch port, so it was a co-development process. It would have been ideal for us to have released the version that we absolutely wanted. Think about that. It would have been ideal for us to have released the version that we absolutely wanted. So they wanted a version of that game. They wanted a version of Mortal Kombat 1 that they wanted to release, that they absolutely wanted to release. It would have been ideal for them, but they didn't. Why? Oh, so imagine, so Ed Boon is sitting there saying, whoa guys, whoa Saber Interactive, why Shiver Entertainment, this looks amazing, I can't wait until you polish this up and finalise this and it goes to market. Well, I can't wait for this is absolutely fantastic. And then go on tomorrow and say, no, don't bother, no, fuck it. Just whatever, just go on, I don't care about that anymore. Make make cutscenes lag, make audio lag, have 30-second loading times during fights. Make invasions not complete. They wanted a version of Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch, but for some reason it didn't happen. And I'm here to tell you the reason is because Warner Bros. Interactive, their publishers, their parent company, the suits that call the shots, said, we want that game released on this date across all platforms, no matter what the costs. And Saber Interactive, Shiver Entertainment, and NetherRealm Studios said, look, we need more time on this game. And Warner Brothers were having none of it. They said, no, we don't care. Release the game. Release the fucking game. And that's what happened. The game released, Invasions is incomplete, and it's riddled with bugs. That is a strong fucking indication that the game was rushed to market. There is, in my opinion, there is no ifs, buts, maybes, could-haves, would-haves about it. The game clearly got rushed on Nintendo Switch. The game should have been delayed, okay? Because let's go back and talk about, like... So, anyone who has actually played Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch will actually understand the situation a bit more. I would imagine that a lot of people have been having a lot of fun looking at the various memes online, doing the rounds of Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. The Melina face is just become a meme in its own. The Johnny Cage face with a lack of detail, the side-by-side comparisons, all of that. Look, it's become a very, very amusing meme, okay? And again, the Nintendo haters are having an absolute field day. I'm delighted for them. You know, so it's fun. But to actually understand the situation, you really have to actually play the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1, and you will soon realize that this is not an issue with hardware limitations. Okay, because you've got a mode which is one of the biggest modes of the game, Invasions, which is literally incomplete. You have bugs and glitches that should not be there, irregardless of the limitations of the hardware. It just shouldn't be there. Think of it, the game is running in 60 frames per second, both in docked and handheld. If it was a hardware issue, it wouldn't be in 60 frames per second. If it was a hardware issue, a PS5 game wouldn't even be portable on, as in portable, as in like it wouldn't be able to be ported over to Nintendo Switch. So it's not an issue of hardware. Again, we all know that the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1, we all should know that it's not going to look and run as good as a PS5 game. But that doesn't mean that the game has to be incomplete or has to be in a really like terrible standard of quality, which is what Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch unfortunately is in. That's the state that it's in. So it's not a hardware issue. If you actually play the game, you will understand this. It's not a hardware issue. Listen, like, imagine you have, I've played Mortal Kombat 1 on PS5. I've played the story mode. I've played a portion of Invasions, Season 1, okay? There is a lot more effort put into the story mode than there is of Invasions. Invasions, you're going around a board game, you fight a few opponents, you collect a few rewards, and you move on. Story is cinematic cutscenes. It's fights. It's hours of content. Which of the two do you think would require more time? The story mode or Invasions? Clearly the story mode. If they can fit the entirety of the story mode on the game, then they could easily fit Invasions. But they didn't have time to. They didn't have time to complete Invasions on Nintendo Switch. The game was rushed, people. It was rushed to market. That is the reason why Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch is shit. It's in the state that it's in. It's important to know the why. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, like, you know, people are saying, you could have fooled me. I don't really care as such, because I do have Mortal Kombat 1 on PS5. I bought Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch for its portability, for just being able to lie in bed and replay the story mode and, you know, maybe do a few arcade endings. I love arcade endings. I love the fact that they actually keep in, I'll call it arcade, the Zoomers will call it towers. But it's always been towers though, in a way, it's always been towers. Arcade mode was just a mode used to describe, like, because Mortal Kombat was in the arcades, I think up until 4, or else, yeah, I think up until 4, yeah. So after 4, then, like, there really wasn't an arcade. I think even though Deadlines had an arcade mode, but over time they kind of got rid of the arcade mode because there was no need to describe arcade mode when it came to home consoles, because yeah, well, hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I always like the tower/arcade modes because all of the characters, they have their own individual ending. And it's really good, like, so you obviously have your main story, your main ending and story mode. I'm not going to spoil anything, like, but, you know, it is what it is. But I will be spoiling it when I review the story soon. So yeah, I mean, being able to lie in bed or be on a bus, wherever, taking a shit, and just being able to play the arcade mode and being able to see those endings and, you know, replaying the story. That's why I bought Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. That's the only reason I bought it on Nintendo Switch. It wasn't going to be my primary, like, I wasn't going to only buy it on Switch. So, Nicole, welcome to the live stream. It is great to have you here, my good friend. How are you doing? So I have been discussing Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch. This is like a sequel to a video I uploaded yesterday, actually, where I spoke a little bit about Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. It's basically at the end of the discussion, but I will wrap things up for you, my good friend, because I'm nice that way. I just find it impressive that I got it on Switch and not making a PS4 version. I think a lot of people would say maybe they should have made a PS4 version after seeing the Switch version. But anyway, it's not a hardware issue. It's not a hardware issue. I'm just remembering what people are saying online. So look. I think it's both impressive and it's by the elder gods, we've been blessed with the presence of Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch. I wasn't expecting Mortal Kombat 1 to come to Nintendo Switch. I don't think a lot of people were expecting Mortal Kombat 1 to come to Nintendo Switch. When we saw Tekken get announced for PlayStation and Xbox, and we saw Street Fighter get announced for PlayStation and Xbox, I think we just presumed that the next Mortal Kombat game would only come to PlayStation and Xbox. So, yeah, when it got announced for Switch, I, as well as a lot of other people, were shocked because of the fact that, hold on a sec, this is a PS5 game getting ported to Switch. So yeah, it's I just think overall it's very impressive that the game is even on Switch. Yes, you are definitely correct there. So, for you, my good friend, I see that my viewers have doubled now. So, I will recap what I've said. Well, I won't say it word for word. I'll try and keep it short and simple. So, Mortal Kombat 1 right now on Nintendo Switch is shitty. And the reason why it's shitty, in my personal opinion, but I feel very strongly about it, Warner Brothers Games rushed Mortal Kombat 1 to the market to meet demands, to satisfy investors, so men in suits can make more money than they know what the fuck to do with it. Warner Brothers Games came to NetherRealm Studios, came to Saber Interactive and Shiver Entertainment, the co-developers of Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch, and said, we want this game, we want Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch to release across all platforms, on all systems, on the same day, no matter what the cost. And NetherRealm Studios, Shiver Entertainment, Saber Interactive, again co-developers of Mortal Kombat 1, raised their concerns to Warner Bros. Games, said, look, we need more time on the Switch version. And Warner Bros. Games said, no. Release the game, thank you very much, goodbye. And that was the end of that conversation. And that's what happened. So we've now seen the cost, which is Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch. That is why it's shitty. It's evident. If you actually play Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch, you will see why. It's fun to look at the memes online of Mortal Kombat 1 and Switch and laugh at them. It's great if you're a Nintendo hater. You're having a field day right now because you can use this as like, look, this is why Switch is shit, but like, if you actually play Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch, you will see why it's a rushed game. Invasions, the biggest mode in Mortal Kombat 1, is literally incomplete. You cannot get past the tutorial area, Johnny Cage's mansion. It is literally incomplete, okay? It's not a hardware issue. We all should know that Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch is not going to look or run as good as it does on PS5. Okay? That is common knowledge. And the reason why it's common knowledge is because Switch is a handheld with a 2015 chip. PS5 is a home console, a powerful home console with modern, high-end chips. So it shouldn't be pointed out that Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch will look different and run different to the PS5 version. And saying that, it does run in 60 frames per second, both in docked and handheld mode. This is an issue with Warner Bros. Games rushing the game to market. But it's important to point out, though, I mean, I've only briefly discussed this. I mean, Ed Boon, co-creator of Mortal Kombat, is aware of this, and he did promise fixes. But he said a very interesting quote, which I'm going to replay. And then I'm going to probably wrap up the live stream. Now, there's a few quotes, but I think the one quote that I really like is, he says, again, Ed Boon, co-creator of Mortal Kombat, says, "It would have been ideal for us to have released the version that we absolutely wanted." So they had a version that they absolutely wanted to release on the Nintendo Switch, but it didn't get released. And it would have been ideal for them to have released it. So it's evident. You listen to everything I've said so far, it's evident what has happened here. Warner Bros. Games came along to NetherRealm Studios and Shiver Entertainment, Zero Interactive, and said, "We don't care how much more time we need to finish this game and to polish this game. We want this game on the market." I know I'm right. I don't care how cocky that comes across. I know I'm right in this. Okay, I've never felt so strongly about something gaming related for a very long time. And hey, look, my predictions when it comes to Mortal Kombat have been pretty fucking accurate as of late. I literally predicted the fucking story for Mortal Kombat 1. Okay? So my credentials right now are pretty fucking, pretty solid when it comes to predictions and anything Mortal Kombat related. But all joking aside, I farted. Hope you didn't hear that. Sorry. Sorry. But yeah, Jesus Christ. I'm after being distracted now. But that's the situation. And it's an unfortunate situation. And I think it ties into what I've been saying for quite a long time now, that there is a second video game crash upon us. I feel like Quan Chi in the story mode of Mortal Kombat 1, where he's like, it's Quan Chi's prophecy. But like I'm telling you, look around you, it's not hard to see there is a second video game crash. And this kind of behavior ties into it, games that are rushed to the market, favoring the bank accounts of investors over the standard of quality and quality assurance of its products and the overall enjoyment of their consumers. And I'm glad you agree with me. Glad fucking someone agrees with me anyway. But this is the case. I know. Again, this is a Nintendo hater's fucking wet dream. To look at a Switch port of a PS5 game that is in the state that it's in, and to say, "Hey, now you know how shit Nintendo is, and now you know how shit the Switch is, and they're having a ball of a time, and I'm glad they are. I'm glad they are. I'm glad they are. If somebody can have fun, that's good. We all have different ways of having fun. Some people's idea of having fun is reporting me the PlayStation and suspending my PSN for 7 days. Hey, look, we all have to have a bit of fun in life, don't we? That second video game crash is happening, and Mortal Kombat 1 and Switch is just another sign, of things to come. As Shang Tsung said in the first Mortal Kombat game, a taste of things to come. This is a taste of things to come. In fact, we've gotten so many fucking tastes now, we should be on the fucking final course now, But I see yesterday that CD Projekt Red were talking about their latest update to Cyberpunk 2077, and they were encouraging people to do a new playthrough. This is the perfect time to do a new playthrough, and everyone is so happy about it. And I'm literally sitting there thinking, so it literally takes years for, I know it's funny, isn't it? A year for a game that people went out and bought, paid money for, to be fit for purpose, to be of quality, to have a basic standard of quality. And people are supposed to be happy with that. Oh, thank you, CD Projekt Red. Thank you for finally making a game that I bought how many years ago? 2-3 years ago? I know, it's fucking hilarious. In a working condition. I mean, damn. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really, really is. I'll tell you one thing though, I'm just glad that I actually have a PS5. Oh my days. I probably would have sucked it up though. I probably would have just like said, okay, it is what it is. You know, I grew up playing Mortal Kombat on Sega Master System. That was one of my first video games. I can handle, you know, this, you know. But yeah, I'm just glad I have a PS5. So unless anyone has anything else to add, I have 3 viewers on this discussion. I probably will just end the live stream in about 10 minutes or so because I got to fill my belly. I've been watching a lot of Mandela Effect videos on YouTube. It's a really good YouTuber. I think it's All Time. I think that's literally the name of his channel, All Time. I only came across him there recently. I know I'm going completely off topic here. Actually, in a way, X-Files team. In a way, it actually is kind of connected to Mortal Kombat because Mortal Kombat is about different timelines, and the Mandela Effect is a very interesting effect, a very interesting concept, and it kind of taps into the possibility of there being different like timelines and universes. It's crazy. Mandela Effect really is a crazy thing indeed. But I came across these videos of Mandela Effects, and it kind of blow your mind. It's kind of, there was one that did kind of, I don't know though. It's interesting watching them, but I think a lot of the times Mandela Effects can be explained to a very simple explanation. Stuff like, there was one about Toy Story. In Toy Story 1, Woody says, there's a snake in my, you know, is it boot or is it boots? And it turns out it's boots the whole time, but it's literally just one word, of like one letter of it. I mean, people may have just heard in their heads, boot, because it might sound better. Like, I mean, there's a snake in my boots, you know, it sounds a bit off, doesn't it? So your brain will probably just fill in the randomness of that and say it's boot. And then for years you're saying there's a snake in my boot. It's like if you're singing a song. I have been for years. Every time I heard Fatboy Slim's song, Praise You, you know, the lyrics are, well, one of the lyrics is, but the main lyrics is, I need to praise you like I should. Should. Right? I swear to God, when I was a kid, in my head, I was singing, I need to praise you like a shoe. I'm not even joking. I'm not even trying to be funny. And I actually said it to someone as well, in real life. So if you're listening, you know who you are. You know I'm not joking. I'm deadly serious. For years, in my head, every time Fatboy Slim's Praise You came on the radio or whatever, in my head I could hear, I need to praise you like a shoe. But so people like hear what they want to hear and see what they want to see, you know? And I think that's what a Mandela Effect ultimately kind of comes down to at the end of the day, I think. I have yet to come across a Mandela Effect that just literally blows me the fuck away. And as well, if you can't, like the thing about the Mandela Effect is when people start talking about the Mandela Effect, when people start saying, for instance, there was the one about Britney Spears during, I think it was a music video of Hit Me Baby One More Time, that apparently everyone remembers her wearing a mouthpiece. But if you genuinely don't remember that very much in your head, but then people start talking about it, and you try to remember, and they say, oh yeah, I remember there was the headpiece, and then you say, oh yeah, there was an ear headpiece, whatever it was. So you're kind of telling yourself that there was. But I'm telling you, unless you have a definitive memory of something in your head, not what someone says to you, but if you have, like for instance, I have a memory of, I think that now actually.
I don't know. But if you have a memory of something and you're 100% sure of it, and then that changes, that's the Mandela effect, and it's spooky. But overall, I think Mandela effects are just something that we as people create. That happens a lot with people and songs. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, I thought your name was Dave. Ooh, Mandela effect. I thought his name was Dave as well, you know. I mean, look, I understand that it's not as simple as that. There are some pretty spooky Mandela effects out there, but I think if you stop and think of it, like there was one about, what was the other one now? Actually, there was one, I'm going to talk about something else as well, and it's actually quite, like, it can be explained. There was one about Scary Movie, right? The first Scary Movie, where Shorty says, like, I see, some people think it's white people, some people think it's dead people. But apparently no, it's dead people. But like, there is the possibility that in the cinema, it was white people, and when it got released on, you know, I don't know how old that movie was, VHS, DVD, whatever, that they might have edited into dead people, and then, you know, as promotional material, you know, goes away over time and it gets re-released and there's new promotional material, then it becomes dead people. It's like the song D12, the rap group D12, Eminem's rap group. He had a song called, I'm basically talking about censoring. Like, originally their song was Purple Pills, but there's a censored version called Purple Hills. You know, so that's like, does that mean like, no, that was definitely Purple Pills. Oh, fuck me, that was definitely Purple Pills. Oh my God, my mind is blown. It was definitely Purple Pills. No, it wasn't Purple Hills, it was definitely Purple Pills, I'm telling you. Like, that's what the Mandela effect ultimately is like, when you break it down. But I know it probably isn't as simple as that, like, but I don't know. I watch them for fun, but I have yet to come across a Mandela effect that is, you know, that is genuinely fucking mind blowing. Maybe, you know, 30, 50 years time from now, when we're all living in Mars, somebody has a Mandela effect of playing Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch, where it's in fucking 4K, ray tracing, 120 frames per second. And then the other person is like, no, this, and then someone shows them a Mortal Kombat 1 on Switch and they're like, well, fuck me, I don't remember that. Jesus Christ. But anyway, I just thought that'd be a bit of fun. So I don't think anybody wants to add anything else to the Mortal Kombat 1 Switch discussion. I'll give you 5 more minutes. And then I really must wrap things up and get a bit of food into my belly. But you know, it's important, to all joking aside, it's important to have these conversations. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, where I spoke about Mortal Kombat 1 and Switch, listen, I will call people out, okay? I will call people out when they need to be called out, right? In particular, when it comes to my channel, like in the gaming industry. I will call out Take-Two Interactive. I will call out Rockstar Games. I will call out Microsoft. I will call out Capcom. I will call out whoever needs to be called out here. So as much as I absolutely love the Mortal Kombat series and have such great respect for Ed Boon, co-creator of Mortal Kombat, NetherRealm Studios, Shiv Entertainment, Shiv Interactive, as much as I absolutely love the Nintendo Switch system and Nintendo, like, I'm not just gonna like ignore, you know, what's going on here with Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch, because if I do that, then I'm going to be the biggest motherfucking hypocrite walking the face of this earth, and it wouldn't sit comfortably for me. It wouldn't sit well for me. You know, it just wouldn't sit well. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I didn't talk about it. You know, so it's important to talk about every issue. So, you know, like, you could be the biggest Grand Theft Auto fan in the world. You could absolutely, you know, adore Rockstar Games, but I firmly believe it's important for you to go out and speak out about issues like the Red Dead Redemption port on Switch and PS4, the whole GTA situation where they're celebrating 10 years of GTA 5 and not one mention of GTA 6, officially anyway at least. It's important to speak out against the games that you love, against the companies that you support, because if you want better quality from them, and I presume you do, because otherwise you wouldn't be supporting them, otherwise you'd be fans of the series. If you speak out and give some, respectful, logical, productive criticism, constructive criticism, then there's a very strong chance that it will be taken into consideration if enough people start talking about it. So when it comes to Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch, and the fact that it was rushed, if more people talk about it, and not just be like, silly like Nintendo haters and people like memes, it's great to have fun, but if you want true and productive change, that's not the way to go about it. Talk about it, talk about the reasons why, and maybe, things may change. But ultimately you have to stick with your money, lack thereof if you choose not to buy it. But yeah, I think people are clearly upset with Mortal Kombat 1 on Switch, but I think it's very misguided anger. Not so much anger, but it's hilarious, but it's misguided humor. Really, they shouldn't be laughing at the Switch hardware. But again, if you're a Nintendo hater, having a ball of a time is great. But again, it's not a hardware issue. I've explained why it isn't a hardware issue. I'm not going to say it again. It's just common knowledge. It's clearly rushed, and people need to see that, and people need to speak out about that, and that is what they should be discussing. I have yet to come across anyone really that has mentioned the fact that this game is actually being rushed. I seem to be the only person saying this, and I've backed it up with clear evidence as to why it's a rushed product. I mean, I've heard people saying stuff like Saber Interactive and Shiver Entertainment are inexperienced, that they don't understand the Switch hardware. That is just so silly. They absolutely understand the architecture of the Switch, which is why they ported over The Witcher 3, which is why they ported over Mortal Kombat 11. They absolutely understand the architecture of the Switch. There's no denying that. But in reality, it was the Wii U. Oh shit! Sorry, I probably didn't read your comment for a while, so I completely forget what that was about. What that was about. Oh yeah, the Mandela effect, where people remember playing Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch in 4K and 120 frames per second and all that, and then they get shown the version that we all know now. Oh, that would be hilarious. And then it was on the Wii U the whole time. What a mindfuck that would be. Anyway, I feel like I'm in a blabbering mood, so I feel like if I go any further, I'm just going to randomly start talking about random shit. Which has happened to me from time to time, I'm not going to lie. And I better be careful that I don't say something that will offend someone, because if I do, this fucking account will be getting banned for 7 fucking days. So I'm going to end it here. And for anyone watching this video, if you've watched this long enough, thank you. But just let me know what you think. I think I've exhausted myself now on the situation. I've said my piece. I've made that video yesterday. I made this live stream now. So I've discussed this, and as I mentioned as well earlier, nobody can accuse me of sitting on my hands on this issue. I have spoken about this issue. I have been as honest about it as possible. I have felt, in my mind, who is responsible for this. I've explained very clearly the difference between a Switch and a PS5. I've said it in the most honest way possible, and I feel happy enough with it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining in on the discussion. Much appreciated. And I will see you next time on Green Hill Gaming. Goodbye.